What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. Starting 11 prediction time for tomorrow's trip to Easter Road to face Hibs. It's the second last game of the season. Now, we come into it off the back of that 2-2 draw at Celtic Park against St Mirren on Saturday. A lot of debate following the game about the performance level, whether the result matters or not. I don't think there's any doubt. And I think if you listen to Callum McGregor after the game, there's no doubt the team aren't performing to the level they have been all season. Now, I think part of that has got to be a psychological drop-off because the title is won. We do have to be careful, though, that we don't let that seep in too much because we've still got the Scottish Cup final to come, and we can't be complacent going into that game. But I do think some of it is natural because the title is over the line and the players have worked so hard and played at such an intensity all season that there has been a bit of a drop-off. But having said that, I don't think there's any getting away for the fact that the team aren't playing particularly well. Ange Postecoglou has made a few changes in the last couple of games. We've seen some lineup changes that we wouldn't necessarily have expected, likes of Awata at centre half on Saturday. I don't think many people expected that. The full team at Ibrox had a few changes in it. I don't think ideally we would have went full strength in that game because it was a derby, but he tried to experiment and give game time to guys who haven't played so much, and he explained in the press conference today why he did that. He wants to get minutes and legs with a view to the cup final so that if anything goes wrong and we lose someone to injury last minute, we're not throwing someone in who hasn't played football for a long period of time. So the team lineups have looked a little unusual recently, but as I say, we were open defensively on Saturday, could have conceded more than the 2 goals we did, and we didn't quite have that usual fluency in our attacking play. So hopefully tomorrow we can get a good performance. I wonder how the manager's going to approach tomorrow in terms of his lineup. Having said everything I've just said, is he going to rest some players tomorrow, get back to full strength or towards full strength on Saturday for Trophy Day, and then have that free week up to the cup final, where you'd obviously expect him to go full strength in that game, the final game of the season, to complete the treble? You'd expect full strength. So is he going to play full strength tomorrow and on Saturday and then the cup final? Possibly not. He might see it as a chance tomorrow to get more game time into some of the squad players, but there's no doubt we would like to see a better performance. For Hibs, they've still got something to play for. They're still trying to get into those European qualifier places. So it's not like there's nothing riding in the game for them. And as we talked about in the full-time reaction on Saturday, that's the case on this Saturday coming Trophy Day as well. Aberdeen come to Celtic Park. They are 2 points ahead of Hearts in third place at the minute. So that is huge financially for them. Third place guarantees some form of group stage football for that team. So that's huge for Aberdeen. So they're going to be right at it as well. So even though we might have this psychological drop-off because we've done our job and we've won the title, we're home and dry, these teams have got a lot on the line, a lot to play for, and we've got to be aware of that and match their intensity and want it as much as them, if that's possible, given the fact that we've already completed our objectives. So we'll get to the team and we'll start in goals, as we always do, with Joe Hart. It wasn't his best performance on Saturday. I thought when Curtis Main scored his first goal, having only seen it live at the time, I thought Joe Hart could have done better. He could have got down quicker. It almost goes underneath him. I think he could have done much better. I don't want to be mega critical of him for the second goal. I think we should just have defended that better. I think O'Hara's got a free header on the edge of the box, and then Main's also unchallenged as he nods it in. It's a tight offside call, but I think we could have dealt with that defensively a lot better. But a few question marks about Joe Hart after Ibrox, a few more after the weekend. I seen Ange answering the question about his role in the build-up as well. I just wonder, we talked about this in January on the channel, I just wonder where Ange Postecoglou's thinking is at in terms of succession planning for the next goalkeeper. Is it something we're going to look at this summer, or are we going to get another year out of Joe Hart? I know he's got another year left on his contract. I think he's been excellent. He was the ideal player to bring to the club last season. He's been excellent for us. real experienced player, real leader. His attitude has been impeccable. I remember making a video just before he signed for Celtic saying that as long as he brings the right attitude, he could be an asset. And his attitude has been impeccable. He's been brilliant for us, but I think the manager should be thinking about the long-term successor for Joe Hart already, and I'm sure he is. At right back, Ralston's going to continue there. Alistair Johnson trained today, which is a huge boost for us. He might be involved in Saturday, but I would fully expect him to be back for the Scottish Cup final. And as I say, a huge boost for us. He's been massive in the second half of the season. Centre half, we've seen Iwata on the right-hand side, and Starfelt went back to the left. And as I say, we were wide open defensively for most of the game. Tomorrow, I'd like to see Starfelt go back to the right-hand side and Kobayashi come back. I think that was a bit of a message to Kobayashi. Is it harsh? I don't know, because he was really poor at Ibrox, but I'd like to see him come back in, because if we have to rely on him in the cup final, I think it's important that he just plays as many games as possible to try and get as sharp as possible. I think he's looked a wee bit reactive in the games that he's played recently, and I think if he's the only option we've got, because Carter Vickers is definitely out, Welsh is still out with injury, it doesn't look like from Saturday showing that we can play Iwata in that position. We should just let Kobayashi get as many minutes under his belt as possible and try and settle in and get as comfortable as he can in the build up to the Scottish Cup final. I'd like to see him on the left hand side. Greg Taylor at left back. Could it be a game for Bernabei? Maybe. If he is going to make a few changes, Ange Postecoglou, Bernabei could be one of them. And then you'd expect Taylor to return for Aberdeen at the weekend, but I'm just going to stick with Taylor for now. I think Iwata will play. This is a bit of a mixed up midfield, but I think he'll maybe play in the deep position. McGregor will move up one, and I've went for Hatate alongside him. I know that looks a bit strange because Hatate does usually play on the left, but I don't think McGregor's going to play on the right hand side, although it's not strictly like that formation the way it's set up there during the game anyway. But I just think Matt O'Reilly was really poor at the weekend, a bit slow on the ball. I think over the piece, despite the fact that round about those derbies that we had last month, his performances really did pick up. I think over the piece this season, we've seen a little bit of regression from Matt O'Reilly. He's still got all the potential in the world. He's still an excellent player. But I think if you go back to the start of the season, a lot of people were tipping him for Player of the Year, for him to be a real standout. And for one reason or another, I know there's lots of factors in there, and we as supporters don't know them all, but I think he has came off it just a little bit this season, and I think that midfield might be a good shout tomorrow. But as I say, there's a few changes in there. I don't know if that is what the manager will go with, but I've got a feeling well, maybe that's what I would go with, right? I know that's not the purpose of this video, I say it all the time, but that's my midfield to change it up for tomorrow. I think Abada might start on the right hand side. He made a positive impact on Saturday eventually, maybe took 5-10 minutes, but we did get a bit of momentum around that equaliser, and the only time we really got urgency was just after the goal, but we couldn't really sustain it in added time. I think Abada did help. It was a surprise to me that he started at Ibrox. I think this might be a game to give him a start as well. I'm keeping Dyson Maeda, who was also really poor on Saturday, on the left hand side, but that's only because of his record against Hibs. You can see it on the banner at the bottom of your screen. He's got a really good goal scoring record against Hibs, so I've just kept him in there based on that. But we might see Jota on the left, Abada on the right, Maeda rested. I do think we'll see, as I say, 2 or 3 changes throughout the team. I'm sticking with Kyogo through the middle. Maybe wouldn't surprise you to see O, but I just think Kyogo will want to play as much as possible because he's racking up a brilliant goal tally. I think that's 31 now for the season. 3 games left. Every chance to add to that. I thought his finish on Saturday was absolutely spectacular. One of few really bright moments for us in the game. Hatate slid him in, and from a tight angle, he just smashed it past Trevor Carson into the far top corner. It was an excellent finish. I could watch it all day. It's just a pity that it wasn't part of a win. So there you go. I think that's the lineup Ange Postecoglou might pick tomorrow, but I'm also almost certain that I've got it wrong because I've made too many changes. You can let me know who you think the manager will pick in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow after the game outside Easter Road. Cheers.